Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. My name is Daniela. I am a Section 2 GAMSAT tutor and now a medical student at Deakin University. Okay, I'm here to make this video today about common mistakes, innocent mistakes I may add, that we make when coming to Section 2. I am victim of some of these mistakes, but hopefully let's clear it out and make studying for GAMSAT a little bit easier. The peacock trap. And I name it so because we may feel inclined to state all of the ideas that come to mind in a paragraph and just list a bunch of examples and not explain anything. This is dangerous because it doesn't really add to an argument, and we kind of do it in a way to maybe make ourselves feel better, like we know so much information. And I call it the peacock trap, because it's like a bird showing off all its beautiful feathers, but it's nothing more than that. So, moral of the story is when you explain an example, it has to mean something. It needs to add to your argument. We're going to look at a paragraph together, and I'll explain exactly what I mean. Okay, so I hope when we read this that we picked up that the examples were not well explained. Albeit this is an over-exaggeration of what I mean by the peacock trap, but it demonstrates it quite well. So the opening is really lovely. Our art is a symphony of color and form that speaks to the very essence of our existence. It's quite beautiful, snappy, bit philosophical. I have no problem with it. The problem starts when we or the student goes into an example with no explanation and no point, right? You go from Starry Night Van Gogh, it's cut here, to then there's a haunting allure of the scream. Okay, but this wasn't explained. And also, it hasn't really linked to a point. I'm going to assume that the students is talking about art and its relations to the human essence, but this has to be very well explained, and it's just not. Finally, we get a conclusion that would have been quite beautiful if the body paragraph served it better, but it doesn't. So to summarize that, each example is linked after another, but no example was explained at all. All right, so I hope when we read this, our reaction was like, whoa, this is intense, because it kind of is. And I guess what I'm trying to demonstrate with the sophistication trap is the overuse of vocabulary, grammar, and complicated sentence structure is not in our favor. If we attempt to read this out loud, it becomes a big mouthful and it doesn't really service. So within the pantheon of transcendent aesthetic manifestations, one finds oneself irresistibly compelled to ruminate, and it just gets intense. So what I'm trying to emphasize is that if you want to sound smarter or you want to show an element of depth, this is not the way to go. I'm not trying to imply that you can't have greater vocabulary and sentence structure. I'm just trying to demonstrate that we shouldn't be focusing on the complexity of a writing. We should be focusing on the digestibility of a writing. So hands down, I truly believe that this rule of not relying on inference is the most important thing to take home from this video. And I say that because we do it quite a lot. I've mentioned this multiple times before. We kind of rely on the obvious to explain what we mean, but in GAMSAT, we are a blank canvas. You are nothing but a number to them. So you need to make sure you are over explaining everything that you are writing, and all your opinions are elaborated and all your examples are elaborated. So let's get into this video, or this example, sorry. Okay, art is an expression of oneself. That's fine. It's an engaging hook sentence. I can leave it. All right, so just as one may find liberty in their individualism, so too does art have its liberty. Again, the sentence in itself is fine and in fact engaging. The problem is we now need the student to explain how. How does art have liberty, right? A little example here would go a very long way, but the student doesn't, right? It just moves on straight to the next point. Throughout the temporality of human existence, man has picked up color and produced artistic expression. that has no link. Even if me and you can make that link. Okay, that artistic expression, it's flexible and therefore it's individual and liberty. That is all inferred. That's not written down. And we cannot rely on inference to do us justice because what if the examiner misinterprets us? But more importantly, good communication, and this is what this exam is about. Good communication means we explain everything thoroughly. So don't rely on inference. There's no link here. And then again, there is no explanation. Uh, okay. Yeah, no explanation of artistic expression. What kind of artistic expression? You know, there's also missing context and examples. So then we move on to it can be argued that art is one of our more dominant forms of expression. So now we have some examples here that art is our expression, but we're still relying on inference. Why? Because these examples are not explained at all. Again, we are left to infer that the plethora of musical songs and fashionable expression is artistic, but we haven't actually been given an explanation by the student, so that's a problem. All right, then we only need to look around us to know that art is an expression of individuality. Again, no explanation how. How is it an expression of individuality? But more so, if this was all elaborated, if we had really pulled apart the meaning of what the student was trying to explain, this sentence alone here would have been fine. But because we have relied on inference to understanding everything we mean, it's a little bit like, how does it show individuality? All right, so that the strokes, and finally that the strokes of who we are paint the picture of a human essence. Okay, very nice. I like this last sentence and I like the hook sentence, but as you can see, we are left with a lot of hows when reading this, and it's something you need to be actively aware of when you are writing. This is about art, but a lot of times students will do this, especially when it's a bit more factual based topics like communism, socialism, history, something a bit of the social sciences. It's very easy to rely on inferred um, explanations and for us to explain them. Okay, everybody. So thank you so much for watching. I hope this was helpful. I am trying my best to explain everything as clearly as I can, but please, if you have any questions, do leave them down below, or join my Facebook group and ask over there. Have a lovely evening or day, whatever time it is, and happy studying, everybody. Okay, bye for now.